gonna sit there and see?
No, I'm gonna
Oh,
say it.
I'll sit over here so my back's not. How about that?
I'm gonna take in flattering pictures.
Yeah, wide angle, we need a wide angle on that.
I'm just playing.
So let's go ahead and get started, team. It's 9 o'clock and we want to respect everyone's time. Do we know if we have folks online yet?
Yes, sir.
We do, awesome. 4 online. Well, welcome those of you who joined us online and welcome Team Hendry. We have one guest present. Why don't you introduce yourself? That may be easier.
I'm Connie Martin with Girl Scouts of Gulf Coast, Florida.
Awesome. And where are you out of? What's your office?
Actually, our office is in Sarasota, but I do Hendry in Glades County.
Awesome. Great. We're glad you're here. And today what we hope to do is to introduce you to Team Hendry, give you an overview of what we're doing and where we are and the direction we're going as a school district. In order to do that, what I would like to do is introduce our team to you and to the folks online, so you can kind of see who we are and what we do. And then the agenda, I think you have an agenda, and basically the agenda, we're going to outline and highlight a few high-level topic things that we have done and are doing in the district, and then give you the opportunity to ask us some questions or engage and talk about things you want to talk about that's important to you, and then ask for your feedback on a few things that we think is important to us, okay? So to go around the room real quick, we have Board Member Stephanie Busen sitting in the front. We have somebody who is somewhat related to her, Mr. Tony Busen, our Director of Maintenance. Ms. Tressa Duncan is the Director of Elementary Education. Roberto Sanchez is Director of Secondary Education. Mr. Curtis Clay, he's Director of Safety and Transportation. And tonight we'll shake it up and start today. We'll start in the back of the room. Mr. Francisco was the Assistant Director of IT. Ms. Emily Gutterich is the Director of IT. Brittany Watson is our Executive Assistant. Ms. Jenny Goff is Director of CTE and Workforce Development. Ms. Kim Jordan is the Director of HR. Dr. Angela Staley is Deputy Superintendent, and Dr. Barb Mundy is the Director of Federal Programs and a whole bunch of other things. So, with Team Hendry, my reading this morning kind of led me to believe something about our team, and so I'll share that with you today. This team, if nothing else, over the last 4 years, I think that this team is known as champions of managed change. And today you're going to see some things that have happened in our district over the last 4 years, and the managed change that these champions have done have led to that through our leaders, through the students into the school system. And what we want to do is show you some of the phenomenal things that has happened, and then share with you the direction that we are going. To give you just kind of a quick overview of who we are, you know, in Hendry County we have just a click over 40,000 residents. In Hendry County school system we have about 7,450 students today. We have 1,000 employees. That's everything from teachers, bus drivers, maintenance folks, custodians, clerical, financial staff. So we have the whole gamut that a typical school district would have. We're the second largest employer in Hendry County. U.S. Sugar is the only one larger than us. We have 11 school sites. The one we're sitting on is Clifton Early Learning Center, a pre-K center. Outside of that, in each side of the county, we have one high school on each side of the county, one middle school on each side of the county, and 3 elementaries for a total of 10 school sites. And so that's kind of who we are and what we do. We're very proud of the academic growth that we've had. For years, the Hendry County schools have been a C school district, up and down and fluctuated through the C schools for several years. Over the last four and a half years, through the champions of change that we have done through the managed change, academic growth has been at the forefront of our thought process. That has evolved just a little bit, and we brought safety to the forefront as well. Without a safe school environment, without the confidence that when parents drop their babies off with us, that they are going to be safe, they're going to be loved, fed, taken care of, and sent back home, and in that safe environment, that has also been a huge piece of what we've done. With the academic piece, we just kind of went back to basics. We focused on teaching and learning. We focused on good pedagogy, good practices that yield good results in a classroom. And that's kind of been our grassroots effort from the bottom down, top up, side to side. Everybody has to own that, believe in that, and drive that as part of what we are and what we do here. Today you're going to see some results of that in just a few minutes and where that has led us. But before we get to that, We're going to talk about our strategic plan real quick. Our strategic plan is our opportunity to align our beliefs as a school district. What do we believe? What's important to us? And how does that relate to the actions that we carry out every single day? And the strategic plan is our guide. This is what we use. This is what we touch. This is what we refer back to as why we do what we do. And make sure that we have alignment, vertical alignment and horizontal alignment with everything we do, with the things that are important to us as leaders, as the business side of our school district, and the academic educational side of our school district, the safety side of our school district, the cultural side of our school district. And so to get us started, Dr. Angela Singh is going to come up and she's going to go through the strategic plan. Off to your right is going to be the screen where you're going to see most of that. Those of you that are watching online, I think it's going to come up for you online as well, correct? So they'll be able to see it online as well as hear Dr. Staley as she speaks. So, without further ado, I'll let Dr. Staley take it.
All right. I am just going to review, like Mr. Swindle said, our strategic plan. The first strategic plan started in 2021, the 2021-2022 school year. So you'll be able to see what we have done to sort of make the changes to what is to come and what we feel are our goals for the next 3 years, so until 2028. As we move through, you will see that our planning stages, well, there's your message from the superintendent. I will not read it all. There's our illustrious board members and their beautiful pictures. And then our mission and vision, of course, is stated throughout the district and in every school. And then this is the about the schools that Mr. Swindle just spoke about. And you will notice on the top right corner and just about on every page, you'll see draft. It is a draft because we have, we still are getting feedback. These meetings right here start that feedback from our community. We started with the directors, redoing what we thought would be a better plan from last year's. And then we presented it to principals. The principals gave their feedback. The principals then took it out to the schools and presented it to their faculty and staff. And we received their feedback through an online forum. So we have all of that feedback, and then we took it to the board a couple of weeks ago and got the feedback from our board members. So once we get done with these community forums, we will take all of the feedback and analyze it and make the changes that we deem or see necessary, and make it a living, breathing draft. And so this is part of our planning process. So once we get all of this together, we will then represent and take the draft off, and it will become our future strategic plan. So you'll notice our goals at the top. In the past, the goals were numbered, and they were numbered according to significance. And what we have done is taken off the numbers because all of these things are important. We started out with 5 in our first strategic plan, and we are up to 6 because the one thing we have had to add is safety and security. It has become quite the undertaking for securing and making our schools safe, but we need safe places for kids to work and learn, and teachers to work. So we added safety and security. So that is our first goal on the plan. And you'll notice on the left-hand side are the priority strategies throughout for each section. And then the yellow or the middle are the goals. So our first 2 goals for safety and security are comprehensive qualitative data that include 100% of the students and staff feel safe. And yes, 100%. It is very hard to get 100%, but we feel that safety and security of all is where we need to go. Because like I said, you have to feel safe to want to work and go to school in our buildings. Reduction in the number of incidents reported to school environmental safety incident reporting system. That is our CESR, and we want to reduce those by 10%. Those are the higher lifting referral things like drugs, weapons, those kind of things that we have reduced a tremendous amount, but we will always want to reduce those and keep all of that out of our schools. Our next is academic achievement and our academic achievement goals. In the school year 23-24, we had 44% proficiency rate in our ELA, fast ELA. And we would like to improve that to 54% by 27-28. And then in math, it was 47% in 23-24, and by 27-28, we would like to increase that to 57%. And like I said before, this is a living, breathing document, which means that we will change it. If we get higher than this, or we meet our goals, or we get close to this, we will probably change this goal even for the next year. So as we move forward, we will continue to make it viable and doable and logical. The school culture and climate is the next thing, and obviously we want a strong, unified district culture and a school culture. And these are the metrics that we plan to achieve. 75% or greater, of course, satisfaction rating and of involvement in decision-making by employees, students, and parents. That was one of the things on our previous climate, culture and climate survey that was lower, and we would like to increase it. 90% of or greater satisfaction on the rating of school or workplace environment, and of course a 50% or greater participation in the actual culture and climate surveys. We are changing one of our applications for how we do the surveys, and our communication device. So it's a new program, and we hope that this makes the communicating with the parents much easier. Teacher recruitment and retention. Of course, the best way for students to learn is to have a teacher, a certified teacher in front of them. And that is the goal, 100% fulfillment of, the teacher vacancies would be wonderful. It is a very difficult thing to do. So our recruitment wants to reduce the 58 number of filled positions with non-credentialed staff. So we need to improve that and get credentialed. Family and community engagement. We have started a few different things this year, and we have continued a few different things this year as far as our family and community engagement. We would like to increase our parent-teacher conferences, community and district events. We just had a community event in LaBelle on April 12th that included ESE and student services and brought all of the services together in one place, and we had hundreds of families attend that in LaBelle this year, and it will continue. So next year, look out Clewiston, here we come. Fiscal stewardship is the next one on our list, and of course we need our reserve fund balance within 6 to 8% of the total operating budget is our goal, and we well exceed that right now. Our financial health and the grant funding and resource utilization, all of those things have to happen fiscally in a school district. And then of course our transparency and accountability, which also starts with these types of meetings so that we can get what we need to out to the community, out to our parents, and become an open book. And that, I think, is all for me. Any questions?
Well, thank you, Dr. Staley. As you can see, where we came from in the previous to the current one, we've had some tremendous growth academically. And to outline that further, Ms. Duncan and Mr. Sanchez, our directors of elementary and secondary education respectively, will come up and talk to you about that and give you the data on what that looks like. And again, you will see, I believe, that the evidence is there numerically, that because of the 10 advanced change that we are, because of our willingness to take bold steps and changes within the district, the data shows some remarkable improvement. And I'll let Ms. Duncan and Mr. Sanchez explain that to you.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're excited to be here this morning and share with you the progress that we have made over the last 3 years as a school district. thanks to the tremendous hard work of our teachers, our staff, our administrators, our students for sure. And while the results are nowhere near where we would like them to be, I think we're proud of the growth and the advancement and the data over the last 36 months.
So we've spent a lot of time over the last few years really coming up with consistent process and procedures when it comes to implementing standards-based planning and what that looks like in the classroom to ensure that the rigorous instruction is occurring in our classrooms, and then being able to monitor the teacher instruction and providing feedback to our teachers to help them enhance their education, providing to the students. And so our data shows that what we're doing is on a positive trend, and we keep pushing forward with that to develop our procedures and be more consistent, and hopefully continue to grow the impact in a positive way.
Yeah, a lot of the work the last few years has focused on embracing standards-based instruction. The state is very transparent about what's going to be in the end of the year assessments that the students take. They give us the resources, and we have focused a lot in making sure that we upskill our teachers and our leaders in terms of what those standards are, so that there's clarity about what the instruction is going to look like in the classroom.
And working diligently to ensure that our students are getting the opportunity to do tasks and activities in the classroom that align or the rigor of the standard in which they're going to be tested on.
Okay. We've also developed systems to monitor that. So we adopted this practice of instructional rounds as a district, where quarterly we'll go into schools and we'll walk classrooms. We'll also have the school leaders present their data to us. And so because we're able to do that on a quarterly basis, right, it gives us the ability to make those modifications and adjustments as needed on the go. All right. And the other thing that we have really focused on and things that we mentioned, this was something that we specifically wrote out in our strategic plan back in 2021, was that we were going to make an effort to change the principals meetings. Historically, a lot of those meetings have focused on managerial things. And so we understand the concept that in order for change to happen in a building, we have to have leaders that are instructionally focused, right, that understand these concepts of being data-driven. And so the principals meetings have really incorporated within them professional learning opportunities for our principals, all right, so that we can, as a district, help support and coach them up and develop them in terms of their standards-based knowledge and instructional leadership capacity. All right, so with that being said, a lot of that work has resulted in the data that you see up here. And so I just want to highlight that over the last 3 years, we have had a changing landscape in the way schools are evaluated. And so if you go back to 21, 22, we were based on the old FSA standards. All right. In 22, 23, this was the baseline. This was the first year of the FAST adopted, the new revised, more rigorous state standard. And then 23, 24 was year 2 of that. All right. So the reason that we do not see learning being this year because it's the first year of the new assessments. And so in 21, 22, school district grades were comprised of 11 different categories. Each one of those categories was 100 points, leading to a total score that the district could achieve of 1,100. All right, and you can see that our results in 21, 22, what they were there. And what's really neat about this is to see the growth between 22 and then last year, 24. As you can see, even with more rigorous standards, right, we have been able to make quite significant progress. In our overall ELA, we went from 40 to 44. ELA proficiency in 3rd grade alone was the first year that metric was introduced in 22, 23, 24. Previous to that, that was not an element that constituted part of a school district's grade. And so we're really proud that 3rd grade data came at 53, which is right about the average of the state. So we're very comparable here to the state average. Both math and ELA have learning gains, so the state says each individual student gets a score. In order for them to meet a year's worth of adequate learning gains, they have to achieve this next score in their upcoming school year. And overall, learning gains in ELA rose up significantly, especially when it terms of the lowest quartile, because the state of Florida says each year you will identify the students in the 525th percentile in terms of your performance, and you have to make sure that those kids make it into the learning games. And so we're really proud of that. Both in math and in ELA, we have shown pretty significant, strong progress in learning units there overall. Our science data, science and social studies are the same assessments throughout all 3 years, but still pretty decent progress there, from 41, 48, 54, 65. Our middle school acceleration is based on the number of students in middle school that complete high school and course exams and pass those successfully, or take industry certifications, and you can see we made pretty impressive growth there, 11 percentage points over 2 years. 17 percentage points over 2 years. High school acceleration, while we took a dip from 22 to 23, we did rebound nicely. And that's based on the number of high school seniors that graduate on time, that pass a industry certification, earn a dual enrollment credit, or pass an advanced placement, which is a university-style course exam. And then our overall graduation rate is a lagging indicator, just like acceleration. So when you look at the data from 22, it's really reflective of the school graduation rate of 2021. And if we know about COVID, right, there was some realization in terms of the state graduation requirements. So it was 87 in 21, the graduation rate for the class of 22 was 76, for the class of 23 was 81, for the class of 24, which is not up there, which would be part of our district rate this upcoming school year, it's gone significantly to 85%. So we are trending in the right direction. Our high schools are doing a really good job with tracking that data and making sure that our seniors get the instructional support they need to pass the concordance scores exams in math. And so when we look at it overall, we were told 530 out of 1,100 points in 22, which gave us a school rate of a C. This year, the beginning number to become a B school district was 54%, so we're 6 points away there. Then the baseline year, because this was an off year, this was the first year that the assessment were introduced, our district grade was compromised at 700 points. We took out 4 learning aid categories. We scored, it was based on just straight proficiency that year. We scored a mean at 700, 54%. And you're like, well, wait a minute, you just told me 54% was a B grade, right? Well, this year the state of Florida decided, because they had so many district grades formed, they rose the baseline of B to 8%. So that was a 58. You had to achieve a 58% this school year to make we were 54%. And then in 23-24, we scored 56%, but the beginning number to a B school district was 57%. So we're just 1 point away. Just one small point away from being a B school district. So really proud of the growth that we have seen in the data in terms of our student academic performance the last 3 years. We're just going to continue to push forward. We're going to continue to double down on things that have worked, that we are doing, and always continue to push forward. All right, because our kids deserve high quality instruction in every classroom. Okay. All right.
Awesome. So there's a couple of things to note that I would like to highlight on here that's really important. Number one, in Hendry County schools, we're going to get to the number of students that we have in just a moment, but we have a high populace of migrant population. Very high populace migrant population. We have a high ELL. We have a lot of folks that come to us that speak no English whatsoever. Many have never been in a school. The beauty is the state says we have to test them anyway, and they're still accountable for educating them. And so rather than using that as an excuse, as champions of managed change, Dr. Mundy and her great staff have basically learned to triage those students and how do you get them up to speed as quickly as possible so that they can still be an educated person and productive in our society. And they're reflected in that. And so even with the high migrant populations, we still have great academic growth. And that is proof that we have great students. It doesn't matter where your zip code is, where you're from, if you're a migrant or your economic status, our students can learn as good as any students anywhere. We're still chasing that elusive B, but we are confident that that the production of our students and teachers and staff this year is going to get us there and put Hendry County into a high-performing school district status. We're very, very excited about that. The other thing that's very important on this slide is the growth that we've had. There are 67 districts in the state of Florida. 40 of those 67 are hemorrhaging students massively. Broward County Schools this year is projecting they're going to lose 31,000 students to charter schools and private schools, to give you an idea of what's going on around the state. They're going to be going through multiple school closures and consolidations, downsizing. Hendry County is very fortunate to be a school district that's actually gaining students and not losing students. So we're very proud of that. Right now, we've got a very tumultuous time going on in Tallahassee with our state legislative bodies. We don't know where we're going to wind up economically and how they fund education, but the school districts that are losing students and fighting and declining economic revenues from the state, that's going to be a massive hit to the public education system. So at least we're very stable with our student body with regards to growth, and we're not hemorrhaging students. So we're very, very pleased and happy with that as well. So in order, and that's great, but along with more students, we have to accommodate more students. And when you have to accommodate more students, we have to figure out what's the best way to do that meets our budgetary needs, and then what's the best way to teach students. In order to do that, 3 years ago, Mr. Busey sat down and started looking at all our facilities, and we have a very aging fleet of schools in Hendry County. Our newest school is 26 years old this year, and we have our oldest school was put into service in 1967. In LaBelle specifically, 4 of the 5 schools are either at or over capacity with what the state says we should be putting in them in student numbers. So we know that the LaBelle side is a little more crowded than the Lewiston side, and so we started to address that problem, and how are we going to best address that? And the answer to that is we're going to need a new school. And so we've gone through that process, and in order to guide you through that process and where we are and what that looks like, I'm going to let Mr. Busey, our Director of Facilities and Maintenance, come forward and talk to you about the new LaBelle High School project.
Morning, thank you for coming. Yes, we did have an opportunity to build a new high school in LaBelle, and it is, we started the process around 3.5 years ago, and we applied for a special facilities use account from the state, and that has helped us provide the funding to do our school, because we, as a rural school district, we would not be able to build a school of that size. It's going to house about 1,500 students. We are in the probably the mid-stage of 40% plans right now. We're working on getting all the civil plans and all the architectural plans done and get them vetted. We should be having machinery on campus at the new Helms Road in LaBelle, probably at the end of July, hopefully mid-July or early June, but we're probably thinking on July. Next year at this time, you'll probably see a lot of walls and a lot of movement. It should go pretty quick. We are opening up school sometime in August of 2027 for the 27-28 school year, which is going to be very key for our students over there. And it'll help the growth. We've seen the growth over in LaBelle for the past 3 or 4 years now. And they're moving, the codes are moving. That's really going to benefit our students for decades to come. What's another opportunity we're going to have is going to be a safe structure for a hurricane shelter area. We're going to have one of the schools hardened in the area, so we can have a state-of-the-art place for our people to go to support our parents and their children also. Anything else, thoughts, concerns? All right, thank you.
It's It's very exciting to have a new facility. Our students deserve a nice schoolhouse to be safe in and learn as much as any other student in this state. So with our team, again, with the Champions of Managed Change, being able to do that, provide that, that's going to leave a lasting legacy footprint from the leadership team in this school board for years to come. We're watching the Lewiston side very closely. We're seeing some growth here, but it's a lot more moderate than what we had seen in LaBelle. However, there are some planned things happening in Lewiston that may drive the numbers up, and so we're going to stay in front of that. And then we're going to start looking at what's going to be the best option area. Is it at a wing, at a said school? perhaps it's a building school in the central part of the county, a K-8 or whatever that may be. So we'll continue to watch that and try to stay in front of that so that we don't get behind and be at over capacity again. So we're very, very excited about that. So I believe next on the agenda, oh, I've got it right here, but I want to make sure I don't get calendar, that's right. And so we've made, again, the Champions Advantage change in this district have looked closely at some very important things. The public school system is fighting a lot of battles on a lot of fronts right now. And so as we look at what makes our school district attractive to families, students, teachers, and employees, then what can we do to think outside the box and do something differently that would be different, that would give people a breath of fresh air, a reason to be here, a reason to stay here, and be a part of our high culture and productivity that we're experiencing now. And so as we look at calendar, we knew that there were some opportunities there. And I believe that Ms. Duncan is going to come forward, Ms. Duncan Emerson.
We are, yes.
They're going to come back
Doing
up, and they're going to talk to you about the calendar, the changes that we made, why we made them, and as well as the school start times.
Yeah, so you'll take a look at the calendar that was recently adopted. One of the things that we've been working on is the work-life balance and making sure that the work being the education of our students, that our students are getting the most rigorous instruction as well, and that the time they spend in the classrooms is giving them the highest quality education. One of the things that we are working on implementing this year is kind of a little break, if you will, after about every 9 weeks, so that the students as well as the staff get that little bit of rejuvenation, so that when they're in school for those 9 weeks, the rigor and the learning is at the optimal capacity. And so you'll see the current schedule. The biggest change you will notice is the addition of the October fall break, in which will allow our families the opportunity to rejuvenate, have a little vacation if they want to, and then come back in and be ready for the next 9 weeks and get academics very strong.
Yeah, I think, just going back to what Mr. Swindle mentioned earlier, right? As school districts, we've got to think of innovative ways to incentivize teachers to join the team, because student academic performance really begins with having a quality teacher in the classroom, right? You can have all these great professional development structures and plans, but if you do not have the teacher in the classroom, it all unravels from there very quickly. And so getting those teachers in the classroom, hopefully this becomes an incentive, this full week off in October for that to occur.
Questions about that? You work on one? Good.
All right, let's start.
The other thing that we are tweaking just a little bit for next school year is the school start and stop times. There are more changes for the the Clewiston side than there are the LaBelle side. I know they're trying to pull it up, but you have a copy in front of you as well. And there's just some slight changes there to accommodate extending the day for our Clewiston Early Learning Center, as well as staggering the bus transportation slightly so that students are not waiting for as long for the bus when school is out. So just providing a little bit of staggering there to accommodate those couple of issues. Any other questions, please, ma'am?
Do you have after-school programs?
Currently do not. Yeah, there are some local things, like as far as daycares and things like that provide that a majority of our families go to, but currently the school district does not provide that.
We have had overtime that come and gone, the car is gone. Questions? Okay. All right. So one of the big reasons that we're holding these events is to make sure that we hear from you, that we hear from our residents, and we got several folks online today, and we want to make sure that what we're doing as a school district is representative of what our community, our parents, and our stakeholders find important also. We are in the trenches of education, and sometimes we miss, the things on the outside. So this is your opportunity to get engaged and to give your input on what's important to you as a district or as a parent. And Dr. Mundy is going to come forward and share a very exciting opportunity for those of you that are here, or if you're online, then you can still participate in that. And she's going to talk to you about that now.
Yes, so if you think back to the strategic plan that we started off with, there was a whole goal on parent and community engagement. And so this is just one of those pieces. where we are asking for input and stakeholder, guidance, information. In the district, we have great leaders, we have great teachers, we have great students, and now we're looking for our great community members and our great parents to help guide us in some of the decision-making process. So we have lots of plans in the district, like the ELL plan, the migrant recruitment plan, the SPP, I can call it that, the student progression plan, the homeless strategies plan. We have a health plan that we have to turn into the state, and also a best practices inclusion plan. And so what's previously happened is each of our departments have little committees, and what we want to do is combine all those little committees and make one district advisory committee or council. So I have a handy dandy sheet of paper here, and if you're willing to sign up for a district advisory council, feel free to do that. And those of you online will have, Emily will talk about the QR codes that we have posted around and on the website, and you can also sign up that way.
The
Yes.
the meetings.
Oh, will be quarterly.
Will be quarterly?
Yes.
And will people be able to participate online, like if they physically can't make it to the meetings, will there be a Zoom link or something that they can log in?
Yep, great idea, yep.
And they can participate in? Okay.
Do they have to go to all of them?
No, they do not, you do not have to go to all the meetings. You can be a council member, and if you have to skip a night, one of the 3 or 4 nights, then so be it, and we can catch up through the minutes.
And this is really to collect their input, the community's input on all things. Okay, so
There you go.
No pressure.
Well, we're gonna pass this around to more of the crowd.
Oh, she lives in the area, so she's gonna drive.
I'm in the area.
So, you could do Zoom.
you can also do Zoom if you're not in the area.
I'm here all the time.
So Emily's going to come on up and talk to us real quick about other ways that we would like for you to engage. So again, one of the big reasons that we're here is to get your feedback, to get your input on the direction that we are going, and to help us kind of finalize, if you will, that strategic plan. And Ms. Goderich is the Director of IT, and she's going to lead you through some ways that you can give input on the strategic plan and some of the other things that we talked about today.
Yeah, so we have the town hall feedback survey on these QR codes all around the room. And for those of you that are joining us over the live stream, we have the Google form link within the description of the YouTube video, as well as on our Facebook page. So if you are here in person and you would like to use the QR code, you can use it by either downloading your QR code app, or you could use your camera app. It makes it really easy. So you just hover your phone over the QR code, and then a link will pop up on your screen, and you click on it, and then it will bring you to the feedback survey. So the survey has around 20 questions. We don't require that you answer all of them, answer as many as you like, but it would be helpful if we can get as much feedback as possible. There is a section towards the end of the survey that asks for additional comments or feedback. If you would like to sign up for the district advisory committee, please make sure that you post that in there, and then also provide your contact information at the bottom. Thank you for joining us today,
Yep.
online and in person.
Yes, that's right, absolutely. Well, I agree, thank you for being here. This is the time where really we have come to the end of our agenda. Are there specific questions you would like to ask or know anything about?
The only thing I was curious of is, because I do a lot of schools in different areas, do y'all have a very active, at most of your schools, active PTO groups, or are they not very active?
So the two directors behind you engage in those daily. I'll let them kind of tell you what they do.
Areas from school to school?
Elementaries are pretty active. Some, have just like LES, it's only their second year actually having a PTO. And so, the longer they've been in existence, the more active that they are. But yes, most of our schools have them, and some are more active than others too.
And then, one thing that we do want to collect your feedback on is the school start time.
Oh, yes, that's
concept,
right.
Because the state of Florida has said that in the school year 26-27, middle schools can start no earlier than 8 o'clock, and high schools can start no earlier than 8:30. Okay? And so we have always had a schedule that you see up there that where middle school starts around 7:20, high school, starts around 7:30, 7:40. And our schedule has historically worked well. All right? So the state of Florida has said that if school districts want to remain with their schedules, okay, the way as is, where middle school starts before 8 and high school starts before 8:30, we have to collect community feedback from our community stakeholders, right? And so we wanted to get your thoughts on, do you believe that we should stay with a schedule that is similar to what we have, or do you think that as a community, as a district, we should move towards having very late start times for high schools and very late start times for middle schools?
And the whole, just give you the whole context, you'll understand. The genesis is lawmakers that either have teenage kids or read research on teenage kids that stayed up late at night and didn't go to bed at a reasonable hour, and so they need sleep, and so let's start school later so they can sleep later, was the true genesis behind that. Locally, what that would mean for us is moving the start time to secondary later, which would mean secondary getting out later. And not trying to convince you or sway anybody, but what that would mean is now the elementary would have to get up and go to school earlier, get out earlier. Many times in our community, we have a lot of the older siblings that are in secondary that are the caretakers, if you will, until the parents get home from work. We have a lot of secondary students that do athletics or have jobs, and that would push their ending time of school so late that would make that very difficult. Some of our athletic games are in Sarasota, and so if we don't get out of school until 4, we don't leave until after 4, we're not even getting there until roughly 6, and then that lets them get back here. And so anyway, it's just that's kind of the timing of how that works. So we would love to hear feedback from community members. If you're online, if you can reply to that, or if you have any thoughts, we'd love to hear it.
As a parent, I really prefer the earlier times. I know, speaking to our Girl Scouts, I know our older girls, they like the ability to be able to sleep in if they want to, which is lovely if you have that ability. But as a parent, the logic of it to me is difficult for, again, those people with the after school, they've got a job after school, they're watching their siblings, they have sports, they have scouts, they have all these things going on. I think it is limiting them on what their potential extracurricular activities and their potential home activities are. Personally, I stick with the earlier times because the convenience and the comfort of being able to get that extra sleep in, yes, it's wonderful. However, I think the impact of it, those that it will affect heavily.
The challenges that creates.
Yeah, I think it creates more problems than it fixes.
Okay.
Just my thoughts.
And thank you for that. And again, if you're online, if you can reply either on the survey or in whatever format you can, that would be great, so we can have that feedback, because we do have to provide that back to the state of what our local stakeholders thought about that as well. So thank you. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate those of you online taking time. We appreciate the champions of change from Team Hendry here and sharing our information. So thank you all very much. We'll do it again. We're here all day. We're starting again at 6 o'clock tonight. So thank you.